with the EPA, Mr. Secretary? Your department is not involved with rolling back protections that would increase exposure to heavy materials, even though it affects people's health? Is that what you're telling me? You don't coordinate?
I say, calm down, Congressman.
Don't tell me look, healthcare is personal to my constituents like Deja and Richard.
Is over.
Do not tell me to calm down. Healthcare is real. And if you can't answer basic questions, then maybe come prepared next time.
Don't tell me to calm down. A statement that ripped through the formal atmosphere of Capitol Hill, turning what should have been a routine hearing into one of the fiercest political clashes of the week. When Health and Human Services Secretary RFK Jr. tried to use a condescending tone to shut down the questioning, he accidentally set off a political landmine. Representative Steven Horsford didn't just brush off the evasion. He turned the room into a moral tribunal, throwing the life or death reality of his constituents right into the face of the new secretary. What pushed RFK Jr. to the point of blurting out such a PR suicide demand? This isn't just another viral screaming match on social media. This is a masterclass in congressional tactics and how to weaponize constituent pain, and clear proof that Secretary Kennedy walked right into a trap set by a highly skilled opponent. Let's rewind the tape and dissect every political trap laid out in this fiery hearing.
Secretary Kennedy, while you're here, your boss is en route to my district in Las Vegas, trying to rebrand the One Big Beautiful Bill. But back home, my constituents aren't buying what President Trump is trying to sell, because they're living the real-life consequences of higher cost, less certainty, and real fear about losing their coverage and their access to care. During the majority's field hearing in Las Vegas last year, they shut out the public and brought in a paid actor. I took a different approach. I invited my constituents to share their real stories about what these healthcare cuts would actually mean for them. And what I heard wasn't a matter of politics, but rather of survival. One of those constituents is Deja, a mother of a medically complex child, Shay. Shay was born at 30 weeks. He spent 3 months in the NICU and came home on an oxygen and feeding tube, one he still depends on to survive today. He needs in-home nursing, specialist, and ongoing care, all made possible by Medicaid. Without it, his family would face inaccessible costs and copays, leaving Shay at risk of failing to thrive. I've also heard from another constituent, Richard, who told me that at the beginning of this year, his marketplace premiums went up $1,700 a month.
Pay attention to how Horsford frames his argument. First, he subtly mentions President Trump's trip to Las Vegas to promote the new bill. The underlying message here is crystal clear. While your boss is out doing PR, my people are running out of money. And here is the finishing blow. Horsford doesn't talk about the budget or macro inflation. He brings up 2 specific names. Baby Shay, born prematurely at 30 weeks on a breathing tube, relying entirely on Medicaid, and Richard, a retiree, hit with a $1 $700 a month premium hike. Instead of debating theory, Horsford puts the literal lives of his constituents on the hearing table. This move completely stripped Secretary RFK Jr. of his defenses. Any evasive or theoretical answer from the secretary at this point will instantly paint him as completely heartless on national television. Backed into a corner, Secretary Kennedy is forced to provide specific actions. Horsford nails him down with the direct question, what are you doing right now to lower premiums and to protect coverage for? And let's hear how the head of U.S. healthcare responds.
Well, first of all, I would say, Congressman, there are no cuts to Medicaid. You look at the congressional...
What are you doing, Mr. Secretary? That's my question is, what are you doing right now? What are your priorities to reduce cost and ensure coverage for the American people?
Well, we negotiated the lowest drug prices in history, and we're implementing those now with the MFN. This is one of many things.
And how does that address coverage?
Well, in terms of insurance coverage, we're doing many, many things within the agency. We are, President Trump is right now with this
What are you
legislation.
doing? You're the Secretary of Health and Human Services. Reclaiming my time. I'm asking about tangible actions and results. To me, the fact that you can't answer a basic question like bringing down cost and coverage, which should be your top priority, not some podcast, but actually addressing the needs of people.
The fluster is obvious in every hesitation. RFK Jr. tries to pivot to negotiating drug prices. That's a plus, but it entirely misses the mark of the question. When Horsford drills down on insurance coverage, RFK Jr. starts stumbling. We're doing many things President Trump is right now. At that exact moment, Horsford deploys a familiar weapon on Capitol Hill, reclaiming my time. When a witness intentionally rambles or goes off topic to stall, a lawmaker has the right to cut them off to get their time back. But here, it's also a raw display of dominance. Horsford is silencing the secretary. The sarcastic remark, which should be your top priority, not some podcast, is a direct slap in the face. Horsford is reminding Kennedy, you are no longer a podcast guest sitting around chatting. The lives of voters are in your hands, and you are showing that you are entirely unprepared for this job. If the hearing had stopped at insurance issues, it would just be a standard political debate. But Horsford knows exactly where RFK Jr.'s weak spot is. The Make America Healthy campaign itself. How can you make America healthy if you don't control the environment? Horsford starts casting his second net.
Now, like others, I want to make America healthy. I agree with the goal of moving from a sick care system to a true health care system focused on prevention. And prevention starts with the basics: clean air, clean water, and reducing exposures to toxins. So I'm struggling to reconcile the reports that some at EPA are working to roll back protections that would increase exposure to heavy metals in drinking water, arsenic, lead, mercury, and chromium. These are toxins linked to cancer, to heart disease, to stroke, and permanent brain damage in children. So just one question. Were you consulted on those efforts to roll back those EPA protections? Yes or no?
No, I haven't been, but I'm happy to talk to you right now about a long list of things that we're doing to roll back insurance premiums. And I would begin that with the skin substitutes. Our reform on that is reducing premiums in Medicare by 6% this year.
Have you aligned your goals dealing with the reforms to the EPA protections and how that is making people sicker, not healthier? That was my question.
Yeah, I could not answer those questions because it's
You
not in
can't
my,
answer the question as the
not my,
secretary.
it's not my agency.
You don't coordinate.
An undeniable paradox is presented. The EPA is relaxing regulations, allowing higher levels of arsenic and lead in drinking water. So, was the Secretary of Health consulted? RFK Jr.'s answer, no, I haven't been, exposes a disjointed reality within the administration. The fact that he deliberately ignores the question about arsenic in the water to pivot back to bragging about a 6% premium reduction only highlights his panic. Horsford forces Kennedy to admit an embarrassing truth. HHS is not coordinating with the EPA. Slogans about clean water, clean air suddenly ring completely hollow. This relentless pressure pushes the secretary's mental state to the breaking point. Under high pressure, people are prone to revealing their flaws, exhausted from being cornered and humiliated over the interagency coordination issue. Kennedy blurts out the worst possible thing he could say in this situation.
With the EPA, Mr. Secretary, your department is not involved with rolling back protections that would increase exposure to heavy materials, even though it affects people's health? Is that what you're telling me? You don't coordinate?
I say, calm down, Congressman.
Don't tell me look, healthcare is personal
Okay.
to my constituents like Deja
Your
and
time
Richard.
is over.
Do not tell me to calm down. Healthcare is real. And if you can't answer basic questions, then maybe come prepared next time.
I'm answering the question. You don't give me the chance to answer. You haven't given me a chance to
You
answer.
said you
I'm happy
didn't-
to answer your
you said
question.
you
and
weren't-
you cut me off when I started to answer.
You said you
You started screaming
not
at
consult-
me.
Okay, the
with
time has
EPA.
expired. We're going to move on. Mr.
People
Yacom.
scream when they don't have much to say.
You obviously don't have anything to say because you can't even uphold what it is you're
Say it.
doing to
Mr.
reduce
Horsford,
cost
you're
and
2 minutes
coverage.
over.
Give me a chance to answer the question.
Calm down. In politics, when you tell someone representing the outrage of the public to calm down, you don't defuse the situation. You indirectly tell them your emotions and the pain of your constituents are an overreaction. Horsford immediately seizes on this misstep. He turns RFK Jr.'s 2 words into definitive proof of the administration's apathy. His closing strike: healthcare is real, and if you can't answer basic questions, then maybe come prepared next time, is a clean, decisive cut that completely destroys the secretary's image in this hearing. RFK Jr.'s reaction of shifting the blame, "You started screaming, you don't give me a chance to answer," only makes him look weaker. When a Secretary of Health has to complain about being screamed at over questions regarding poor people's medical bills, the PR war is already lost. These short 6 minutes of the hearing reflect a multitude of issues. First, it demonstrates the sheer power of bringing real-world human stories onto the congressional floor. Dry statistics can be forgotten, but the name of premature baby Shea or elderly Richard won't be. Second, it exposes a lack of cohesion between federal agencies. The fact that HHS does not coordinate with the EPA is a massive roadblock for their own Make America Healthy pledge. And finally, the biggest lesson here: never tell your opponent to calm down when they are holding their constituents' medical bills. This hearing has concluded, but the heat from this clash will undoubtedly impact upcoming policy battles. What do you think about RFK Jr.'s performance? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for the latest political breakdowns. See you in the next video.